getting set up now. Get some data. Let's have a look around here. Set up. If there's anybody there, could you tell me if you can hear me okay, please? Somebody, sound check, please. Hi there, Sparky. Do you hear me all right? Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much, Sparky. Thank you. Oh, now we start the stupid parrot off as well. Give your beak a rest, Jimmy. Jimmy the parrot, please. What I was going to do is, because we had a reaction to my last couple of videos, people wanting to see the size and scale of things. So the steps I showed. That's great, cheers, Sparky. Yeah, Lee and his Liverpudlian accent. So the steps I showed that a few people mentioned looked big. This is a 176.2 scale chap. Oops, sorry about that. We shouldn't be seeing that. Shouldn't be smoking. See if I can centre in on that. So that's the scale you can see. I don't know how to zoom this in. Just bear with me. It's a new. Randall, thank you for coming higher. I can't work it out. I'm sorry about this, guys. I'm just trying to. I don't seem to. Anyway, there it is. I've got a scale ruler at the side of me, taped to the bench. This fellow is 6 foot tall, and that makes these steps 5 foot tall, and the width of the steps is just over 3 foot. I got some comments. Thank you, Randall. I appreciate you coming. I got some comments saying, you know, let me look at the scale of things and what have you. And I got some comments in emails that weren't fit to publish on YouTube about products and what have you. So I'm going to explain a few things about some of the products that I've shown you. And have a quick look at them, and we can do a comparison with some other stuff. Put that there. These products from Blue Tree Models are all development products. These are their raw shopping trolleys. They're all development products, and so when they've gone into the shop, they could very well have improvements made to them that we don't see. JD, Grandpa Rails, thanks for coming. So we don't always know if this is a finished article, and people say, oh, that looks terrible, that looks this, that looks a bit big, that looks a bit small. They're all development jobs, and so that, with that in mind, they are subject to change as time goes on. Now these are a low resolution print, And somebody mentioned, oh, I can see the print lines, but if I look hard enough, in a lot of people's work, I can see print lines. So I'm not going to mention that in anybody's work, because we can see it all over the place. And so these car doors and stuff, what I'm going to use these for is the scrapyard, but some of them could be put in like a car place, you know, where they do repairs and stuff like that. And same with these wheels, these tractor tires and things. This isn't the actual final print. They will be going on for sale, but they have improvements, and the resin's going to change to a rubber resin for those. So there's a lot of things. They're going to have a lot of changes. These hand pumps are very, very thin. Newland Railway, thank you for coming, my friend. And you, like I say, you're going to be able to buy these ready painted or not, as suits you, your purpose. But I'm going to do something now, and I haven't really done it before, and it's been on my mind, so I'm going to do it. Excuse me. Product A and product B. These, thanks Sparky, thank you JD. These are two 3D printed culverts. And a culvert, I don't know if they call it different in the States or Canada. It's merely where water drains and it goes through underground pipeworks to an outlet, usually into a river or a lodge or a bay reservoir, or even into the sea in a way. Takes surface water and land drains and things like that into it. Now in real life, I have seen culverts that look like this. There's absolutely no pipe visible on the outside at all, and it's just flush with the concrete wall. And I've seen culverts that look like this, with part of the pipe protruding. You'll notice the difference in the both double O scale, which should do for HO, the thickness of that wall and the thickness of that wall. This is a thicker wall, this is a thinner wall. Behind this one is a piece of pipe, and behind this one is nothing. Now imagine this was the bank, the river bank or wherever. I can put this one flush right up without any messing straight away and use it. Sometimes they have a concrete base that they're on, and the water runs down there into the river and stuff. This one, if I was putting it right up to the banking, I would either have to cut that pipe off the back or build it out. Either one of those options is very easily achievable by anyone. Any one of us can do that, and it takes a minimum amount of fuss to do it. I haven't been out and measured in real life one of these culverts at all, so I couldn't tell you if this is more accurate thickness or this one, or indeed if they both are. A quick measure, and this is a very rough measure because it's with a bog standard ruler. And 1, 2, just about 3 millimeters, which is just shy of 1 foot thick. It's actually 9 inches thick in real life. In real life, and this one is 2 mil thick, which is 6 inches. 6 inches in real life. They both look good. That on the centre of this pipe is lower to the ground. The centre of this pipe is higher to the ground. For my money, right, if I want to make a scene where water's dripping out, with this pipe sticking out like it does, it's difficult to point out like this. I can put a trickle of water from in the pipe running down off the edge of the pipe and I can put the green mould and slime and what have you around here, and I can even put a little rat sat in there. Yes, I do have little rats that are the right size for this particular project, and I can put a bit of detritus and stuff around the top. It lends itself to that perfectly with having the pipe protruding out, and like I say, easy to stick the base of that right up against something. Now this one, there isn't that. There's still the option to stick a rat there and put a dribble down and put the green slime all the way around. What this one does though is give the viewer the option to be able to see right down the pipeline. If this was an eye level on the layout, or if somebody crouches down to look up, you can actually put something in the tunnel that had been missed by without looking for it, and you can have a view up the tunnel, put water and bits of debris and what have you. Right, the two different manufacturers, it doesn't matter who they are, they're both good products, they're both what they are. I've no idea how much they cost, that's irrelevant. The only thing I'm looking at is which is more suitable. This one's slightly wider. The angles of the walls, this one seems to have a larger angle, so it's more of a view at the front, but it's a shorter distance from there to there. This is slightly narrower with a larger distance, so you put your room for your concrete and whatever debris you put in there, and the same with this one, whatever your debris you want to put there. All I can say really and truly is it's entirely at your own discretion which ones you prefer to use. If you've got a deep thick banking and you can fit this one in without having to do any alterations, that's great. And if you haven't, you can push it right up against there, Bob's your uncle, and it'll work well. It really will. I'm just going to have a look. Lee, hello, thank you for coming. It's a Culvert in Canada, is it, Sparky? That's great. Right, so we're all on the... Oh, by the way, Sparky, happy Canada Day, my friend. Happy Canada Day, whilst I remember. And there's your Canada flag waving about. Happy Canada Day, my Canadian friend, and anyone else who's Canadian and watching the stream. Happy Canada Day to all of you. Have a lovely day. And do enjoy the activities. Leicester Station and Traction Maintenance Depot, thank you for coming, my friend, much appreciated. So in conclusion, what I will say is they both look acceptable to use. They both easily lend themselves to a lot of weathering, tinkering and detailing work. This one actually came supplied in a concrete finish, but you can have it in an unpainted finish. This one came in a resin finish and I've painted that myself. If you don't like the colour it comes in, you can always change that quite easily and quickly. Completely up to you. All I can say is both of them are good, both of them are usable, and I would use either one of those on my layout. And I have a couple of situations where I could actually fit this one into where a little very low bridge goes over, and I could fit this one in many places without any alterations. They both have a place, they both fit for purpose, and they're both very good. So it is what it is. You're just going to pay your money and take your chances, whichever you prefer. All I'll say is look at it in the catalogue or on the website, and just make sure it is what you want before you order it. There's nothing worse than getting something you didn't want, and then being angry at the supplier because it's not what you wanted, but you didn't check it thoroughly yourself beforehand. The line side cabinets, everybody and the grandma does these. Everyone does them. I'll just see if I can't come with there. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Now these are already a one-piece mould. There is some that are in little kits. I think is it a Will's kit or something like that. Jimmy the parrot, be quiet. I'm just going to open the cage and see if that shuts him up. Please give it a rest, Jimmy. We can see the detail quite well. The handles, the hinges. It's a sloped roof on this one, and it's on its own little concrete base that requires painting. The grey on this, believe it or not, is it comes in a resin grey, and I have put an undercoat on it that looks almost the same as the resin grey itself. Shut up, you horrible parrot. And again, it's purely a matter of choice. Everyone makes these, and you can have a look at them and choose which ones you want. They're all much of a muchness. I will say some, when you scrutinise them, the printing resolution isn't that good. That's not the case with this, but I have seen some that aren't quite very good, and they might be all right at the back of the layout where people can't see them properly. But if you can obtain these, I wish I could, Sparky. I really wish I could. He's a right nuisance. He's a horrible nuisance. Just be quiet, Jimmy. Just go and find something to do. Horrible parrot. He knows as soon as I'm doing something, he knows to start squawking. Yeah, so some you can see a very big difference in print quality. Like this is a shopping trolley. It's a development process. I don't know if that is the 100% finished article, but it'll be pretty similar. It's and to me that's good enough. I like that. I can throw that in the canal quite happily, make it a bit rusty, fill it with junk, put it on the scrapyard. I'll be quite happy with that. But I don't know, the improvements are being made all the time. These pipes, these are the old clay pipes, and they do fit together quite well. These I got a stack and put them in my railway wagons and carriages. Dwight, hello my friend, thank you for coming, much appreciated. Now I'm going to have a look what else we've got. These are heaters. I didn't show these before. These are the factory heaters that fit onto the ceiling inside, and so they'd be like that, pointing down, and they blow heat out. Not, obviously they won't painting. That's an interior design decoration. And the plant pots are something that are so tiny, so really tiny. They're tiny to us, but in real scale that is a 1 foot pot almost. Those are very good. The resin's brilliant, that terracotta resin for those things. Now I'm going to show you something else. Every one of these is the things that either I've been sent or I've bought. Now I bought this in a kit, tiny pieces. I'll bring it up so you can see it. I will put a link. If anybody wanted to buy this, I will let you know where to get it. You buy it in little segments and you build it, put it together yourself. I'm very happy with it. It's very nice. I painted it and then I've weathered it and put a bit of rust here and there. It's only been up a few years. Same manufacturer. This is one of those exhaust ports. You get them coming out of kitchens and laundry places, things like that, and that comes with its own bracket already moulded in, and it comes in a few different sections, as tall or as short as you want. Either way. Now Jimmy, just be quiet. The parrot's flown onto my shoulder. I'm just hoping he's going to be quiet while he's on my shoulder. Behave, Jimmy. Just behave. Anthony, thank you for coming, my friend. Anthony Dodge. I hope you're well, my friend, and well recovered after your epic journey home. I really am. So those are the products, and like I say, I got some comments on there saying show me what size they are. I can't see the size. Hi Martin, thank you for coming in. So that's what I've done. I've put them up against a figure, and now these, you'll remember, they had 2 sets of railings. I took one set off. In fact, I took both sets off and I reattached these. They were all attached to a little bracket on the side, going down here onto the side, and I cut them off, cut those brackets off and mounted them to the actual stair rail itself that holds the steps, because I prefer it that way. I think it looks better and it's easy to do as well. It's very easy to do. And so just remember, you know, when you get a 3D printed product, it's, you don't have to, you know, you can do, if you see something that could alter, you can do your alterations quite happily without any fuss, you know. It's easy enough to do stuff like that. I prefer it like that. That could quite easily go against a wall to a loading bay. It's the exact, believe it or not. You've all seen this shunter that I built and made rusty and horrible. Oops, that's the sandbox. It's the exact right height to go straight there into the locomotive cab, which is the same as a platform height. You can alter the height if you wanted to. You'd have to be very careful because you'd have to alter this, the angle of the base, as well as the length of the lifts at the back. Otherwise you'd just alter, if you tried to alter it without this changing that angle, you'd end up making them tilt in the wrong direction. It wouldn't look good. So that's covered basically that aspect. Like I say, I did get some emails as well. If you go to my about page, thanks Grandpa. If you go to my about page on my YouTube account, there is an email address, and if you want to either say something that's really long that you don't want to put in the comment section, or you want to share something privately, or even comments that have not necessarily adhere to Google, YouTube's behaviour policy, you can always email me. I don't take it personally when people don't like something or do like something. Either way, you know, the products are what they are, and I do believe they speak for themselves, and the proof that I put in is when you get them yourself and start to use them. All I can do is show you the products, and hopefully it gives you a bit of an insight. But I'll quickly go through some of the others. We've done that Culvert comparison, which is good. So we all know 2 alternative manufacturers. I'm not naming them, anything like that. This isn't for that. I'll put these here. I'll reach over and get these other ones. Oh. These are all released. This, I'm told, when you buy these rusted, this is only half the process, and it came out to me with part of the process missing, which would be an oil coat that dulls down that orange rust completely. And I have to agree, that is all it needs to make it look very, very realistic. And the steel drums again. Now, lots of people are making these steel drums. Everyone's having to do with them, and some people are putting lights in them to represent burning braziers and what have you. So we'll get one that's a solid drum. Lots of people manufacture these. You can buy them in packs from old manufacturers, but now 3D printing. That's the scale next to the fellow. So I'm going to measure it on my scale ruler, and it's 1, 2, 3 foot tall. It's 3 foot tall, but this one has a flat edge on it because it's supposed to be sat down. And so it's the right size, the exact right size, along with this one. Might look a bit narrow, I don't know if it actually is, but they're all the right size. When I put them next to this fella, they don't look out of place, and the traffic cones are the same. Perhaps I should have done this when I did the original video, but this does actually give me something to do today, showing you these. Hiya Brian, thank you for coming, and thank you for your comment, my friend. Appreciate it. So they are, like I said, this is the 00 scale chap, and he's exactly 6 foot tall in scale, and the road cone looks about right next to him. You know, you can get away with using them on HO as well, because the difference is very subtle and slight. Oh Jimmy, why are you doing this? What's to do? I don't know what he's doing, silly parrot. Same with the couch and the chairs and things, you know. Jimmy, will you stop it? They are very much in scale and look right. John Skooker River Valley, thank you for coming, my friend. Thank you very much indeed. I really don't know what's up with the parrot. He just won't be quiet. He keeps flying at me and squawking when I try and touch him. Just be quiet, you stupid parrot. You know I'm doing a video. That's what his problem is. He knows I'm doing a video. Jerry, thank you very much, my friend. How are you doing? I hope you're doing all right. And so everything does look in scale. Everything I've sorted so far. And the other things, I'll bring them back on. These are the chimney pots. And they all look, you know, they all look okay next to the chap, next to the 6 foot chap. That's a really tall one, and the two tiny crime top pots. So the answer to the questions and what have you, I really hope. And I know Jerry asked about the step ladders, so I'll get those back out and let you have a quick, wherever I've put them, over there. Let you have a quick shufty. Those are the step ladders, not the step ladders, the steps, Jerry. What I did, I chopped the railings off either side, the hang guards, because they were mounted on a bracket at the side. And I glued them. I glued them actually onto the stair rail, onto that part. And that way they looked a bit better that way, I think. And standing them next to the chap, they are exactly 5 foot tall scale wise, and they're just over 3 foot and a couple of inches wide, which is about right for the scale. So we've covered all that aspect of those, and I hopefully answered everyone's questions. I will put this back. This is an exhaust air exchange thing that goes on the roof. It measures up all right to that fella, and it looks lovely. It looks great. That's a great height. That's a great height. He's took a runner. That's ideal. So the scale of everything is looking okay. It just can be difficult on camera, on the internet and what have you, to judge things, and I don't know. This is a new camera, and thanks Jerry. Yeah, there's another one here as well. That's what comes, you know, they'll have them on at the back in the restaurant kitchen, on the outside back wall where they're exhausting the cooking fumes, or in a laundrette, all the damp air and things like that. So there's some good products. Like I say, I've done the comparison with the Culverts, They're both usable, they're both good. Just pick which one you want. They both look all right on the layout. I haven't, like I said, been and measured culvert walls. The nearest one to me is about 15 that I know of, that I could get to, is about 15 miles away on the River Calder, other side of Padiham, where the power station outlet was. People used to go there because when it was a coal power station, they used to let warm water out. And the legend was that big fish were there because of warm water. And if you went there, you could catch Moby Dick or the Loch Ness Monster. I never did. Thanks, Jerry. Yeah, I'm just still getting used to it all. But yeah, it is a nice camera. I do like it. Next, the next thing I'm going to show us is, most of you know I got sent the buildings and stuff. There was DPM, Design Preservation Models, and City Classics. I keep calling them Scenics and they're not the Classics. City Classics. They did devil's work to get all of in the UK at a decent price. You can order them from the States. It's really expensive and you're probably going to get mugged for tax when you get here as well. So I started off, I sprayed them all. These are in enamel paint. I used a can of red oxide paint, sprayed them all with that, with the enamel. And then I've used an acrylic to pick out all the window details. Now this takes absolutely ages. The reason it takes ages because it's all in one mould from DPM. City Classics at same. There's a lot that do it. There's a lot that have the same way of doing things. I suppose it's more economical for them and cheaper for us to buy. But they come with the windows moulded in. I don't mind it. It's just like when you get a Walters and the windows aren't moulded in, you can quickly spray paint them all while they're on the sprue, whatever colour you like. These, you really have to hand paint them with a tiny brush. And I don't mind, it gives me something to do, especially in the cooler winter months, which is what I'll spend most of my time doing. I've been experimenting and looking with things to create the pointing, the cement work between the bricks and one thing and another. And as most of you know, I have oversprayed afterwards with an airbrush, a dust colour, a pale white or a grey white, to make things look some faded, old, and kind of been there for 100 years, which is what I'm looking for. Now, this is the wall I worked on first. This is exactly the same, believe it or not. The red brick colour paint is exactly the same. And I've just done one different process to this one than I have to that, and that's just waiting for the process. And that is, you know, you can get colours from various places of cement. Yeah, I've got some Walters to sort out yet, but that's good. But like I say, you get these stone colours and cement colours from places. We have a local shop that actually, it's called B&Q. I believe it'd be called Home Depot or something like that in the States or Canada. And if you take a colour in on a piece of plastic, a card, a paper, they'll scan that colour and mix you up the paint that you like for that colour. And they did just that for me with this stuff. And interior matte paint. And they mixed the colour up of cement, concrete. You can see it on the outside there. So what I did with that, and it's an emulsion, but it's a water-based one. I got a pot of water. I diluted the paint so much that when I put it on here, it ran quite happily into all the bricks and all the divisions in the bricks. So I gave it a really good coat all over, let it soak in, picked out most of the brickwork. And Stephen, hello, thank you for coming. Daryl, thank you. Thank you, John. what I did with this, because they're all shops and they do have shop fronts, they're going to lead into shops. Jimmy, be quiet, you horrible parrot. I put a couple of signs on, and how I got these, yeah, I wish we could, the damn parrot. I wanted to put him in a box and put him outside, but sorry a minute. Jack! Jack! I do apologise, that's my youngest son screaming and shouting when he knows I'm doing a live, and I did ask him to be quiet. But he has special needs and he doesn't always pay attention to what's going on. So what I did with these, I printed out from the internet some signs. And if you can see, you can barely see what they are now. All right, that's all right. Thanks for that, Jerry. And what I did, I printed them out onto bog standard normal paper, Coca-Cola signs, ready for the shop so that it's pointing. But I wanted them to look like they'd been painted onto the wall ages and ages ago. So when I got the paper printed onto them, I don't know if I've got a print of any of them here. Yes, I have. Yes, we have. So what I did with these, I got one. That one looks all right, but it's no good because it's actually a picture of a neon sign. The Coke bottle might be good. And that smaller one up there, even that big one, to go on a blank wall. That's a really old one, 5-cent Coca-Cola at soda fountains. So that's really old. That would have been there over 100 years. And so I've cut these signs out, and then I've sandpapered very, very carefully onto the back. Sand away, sand all the paper away until we get to a point where it's really thin. You can almost see through it. Then I put some liquid, really dilute PVA onto the wall. And then I sit that on and spend quite a while with a stiffer brush, just gently prodding it into all the brick lines. I don't know if you can see it good enough. You can just about see the brick lines through it, so it looks like it's painted on, rather than, yeah, you can see the shape of the bricks through it, rather than a steel sign that's been screwed up and stuck to it. The idea was to get it to look like it's painted on. Thanks, Jerry. I do hope it looks okay. And it's a bit, I don't know, because of the PVA, that looks a bit glossy to me here and there, but it'll all be covered with a dull coat afterwards that'll protect it. And I use this stuff. It's an acrylic dull coat, clear varnish. And I bought a couple of big cans of it because it's always useful. But I also do have the Ultra Matte from Ammo Lucky Varnish, which is really good, and it's just a matter of convenience which one I use. They're both acrylics, they're both very good, and they both do a good job. But it's usually a must. It just helps. It really helps create the right image and atmosphere, and you can get dusts and what have you. And I don't know how many of you know about Franklin and South Manchester layout. I think most people do, but what an inspiration. I can spend hours and hours studying that layout and just looking at all the buildings, the railway, and everything is done. It's awesome layout. One of the best there is. And there's City Edge by Vic. I can't remember. That's another good one, but it's on YouTube. No, Jerry. What I did, I can do a little demo of it. I used a 00 brush. 00 brush here. Say we've got this one. This one is actually ready for doing because I've painted the window frames and it's ready to go. I have here, I always keep a little thing of water ready, sealable with its lid. And this is the pot. It's actually a glass, so it says a heavy base so it won't tip over, and it's actually a glass bottle stopper from something. I don't know what from, some sort of fancy perfume or something. I don't know, but my son took the lid off and gave it to me off one of his, whatever it was. And it's ideal for this. It's ideal for this. And no, I airbrush. If I'm doing a dust cover afterwards, I'll do an airbrush everywhere. And so what I do, I get the brush wet, ding it into this paint, keep getting, you can see how thick it goes on here and dries, you know. It's right thick, lumpy stuff. It does set like concrete, just like it says. And so I'll just put it into here now, put a bit of it, and then I'll ding some water and we can do it with a bigger pot then. It's really straightforward to do, is this? But yeah, good job you asked, Jerry, because we can tinker about doing it. And just put plenty of water in, so I've got that kind of a mix. Milk. And then I'll show you how we do it. We just put it on, and you can see straight away it's going straight into the brickwork. I don't know how good the detail you can see that, but and then if you just run your thumb over it, it'll take any highlights out. And I just keep messing with that. And clearly by doing it this way, it actually dulls down the brightness of the red. Really well. And if you're not happy, you can get a cotton bud and begin to take it off. Now that at the moment looks, oh, you've just covered it all in cement. Can't tell the difference. But when it dries, it comes out like that. And like I say, if you're not happy, you get these cotton buds, and it's easy enough just to remove a bit and make more of a red brick beneath again, if that's how you want to do it. But you'll remove all of it if you do it enough like that, and it's remove the lot that you've just done. And it's a really cheap and easy way, and it actually, because it dulls down the red of the brick, it makes it look old and it's been there forever, you know. And it's such an easy process. You can just try and, you know, get it in the lines and hope it's the pillories its way about doing it like that. But I don't bother. I just go for it. Just cover it. Just cover it, and you can always remove it or go over it with something else if you're not happy with the result. But that will give us the result like we've got on the other one. And like I say, if I were dusting it, making it all look dusty afterwards, then I'd use an airbrush and a dust pigment that from Life Colours or something like that, what we've got. And then when I've done it all like that, and Jimmy, shut up, it turns into this. The next stage for this is to put like dirt along the tops, the window ledges at the top. He's a horrible parrot, isn't he? Shut up, Jimmy, you're horrible. Put dirt along the tops of these, onto these ledges, and at the tops of these frames. everywhere where dirt would settle. And then I've got to put a few rain drips and dirt marks as rains come on and being dragged down, you know, in the dirt, and do that along the top in a few places, especially around the chimney. And then it'll be ready for putting the glass in around the back. The mouldings come with these, they've all got wide bits on, but where you're going to put the windows is you sand it down. You know, I'll probably do these windows in a group of 3 and another group of 3, group of 2, and then 2 little pieces for those 2 side windows, those really small ones. So I'm not going to use a full sheet of acetate just for those pieces. And I use glue and glaze, that glue and glaze. And this, it dries clear. Daryl, which colour? The colour of the mortar or the colour of the red? The red there is pure red oxide enamel primer, like you get from a car repair shop or somewhere, and that's an enamel. I do use acrylic reds as well, but I did this one in enamel. The one previously was acrylic, and I just fancied a slight change so they don't look all too generic, because they are the exact same building. I wanted them both to look slightly different in some way or other. And then this is a cement colour I had mixed up. I had that mixed up at the local DIY shop for about £3. Because it's expensive. If you buy the Humbrol tinlet of stone coloured paint or concrete paint, it's £3 or £4 for a small amount. And even though you use thinners, it doesn't go so far. So what I did, I painted some paving stones with the thinners, the thinned enamel from Humbrol. Once I had run out of it, I took one of the pavements over to the shop. They scanned it in the machine, and the machine works out the colours to mix up to produce the same colour. And they get a lot of people going in there doing that when they're building railway buildings or dolls' houses. In fact, the girl at the shop, when I went in and gave her the piece, she said, "Are you building a model railway or a doll's house?" And I was surprised. But she said that's a lot of our business comes from model makers. I suppose it's a good, cheap, easy way to get the paint colours that you want really quickly. And they will do it in the States and in Canada, of course they will, because they do the same in the UK, what they do everywhere else. Custom screen printing. Thank you for coming, my friend. I'm doing all right, thank you. So yeah, I put the acetate windows in using glue and glaze. It does dry clear. It's completely clear when it dries. And if it will make, like I did with this, you see the window, that window there is made just out of glue and glaze. Well, that valse bar, if this, the shop we have here, it's a big chain of DIY stores called B&Q, and I'm sure it'll be Home Depot or the Range or something like that in the States and Canada, and they scan it and do the colour for you. You get a big pot, and they even store it in the computer. Excuse me. So when you go back the next time when your paint's run out, give them your name and they'll have the colour ready and say, give us a couple of pots of that, £3 a time. It's excellent stuff, it really is. So yeah, this'll glue the acetate in, and if it does sometimes encroach onto these window areas, it doesn't make a big mess. It doesn't really make a big mess. Right, the mortar, Daryl, yeah, like I say, I originally got this colour from a tin of Humbrol, one of those little tinlets, And once I'd painted something and I liked the effect, I'd thinned it down and what have you, made it look like I wanted it, took it off to the shop, they scanned it, and like I say, you get a big tub. Well, I'm saying a big tub, it's a big tub for us modelers, and it was £3. You can't grumble at that. And there's you can go back any time if you store it in the computer. And actually this, I don't think will need much of a dust. All right, Anthony, so is it Lowe's where you are that do the paint mixing for people? The same thing? Right, where are we? So I'll show you this now. It's started drying off a bit. And you can see it's matching the colours, but it looks a bit like it's covering the brick a bit much. And that's easily remedied. You can run over it and just scrape it off, tone it down a bit quite easily. And you get, basically that's all you do. Get it covered and then play about with it until you're happy that it's the right thing for you. It does look much more all over the bricks than it actually is. From my perspective, you can actually see the brick through it, much like you could with the other one that's dried. And you just mess around with it until you're happy with the result, and then go from there. Now the only thing is that would save me, doing this saves me overspraying everything with the dust colour, apart from the roof that I want doing. And I think these lintels above the windows and the ledges beneath the windows will want some sort of dust coating on them, otherwise it's going to be quite obvious that everywhere is dusty and someone's gone around and cleaned all the window lintels, which is about as realistic as a chocolate teapot. It wouldn't happen. So they do the windows and that. I might just do a quick, once everything's in the windows and the buildings together, I might do a quick blast over those areas with a very dilute dust colour, so it just gives the windows a bit of muck. And then with the windows, you just get your cotton bud and go back, clean them, leave them dirty in the middle, just give them a quick wipe so it looks like someone's half-heartedly had a clean at them and given up, and then it should look the business. Mark at Emeldown, Rick Bailey, thanks for coming. Hiya Nikki, thank you for coming. And so hopefully when that dries it'll look more like that. You can see the red through it, the red brick, but it does, for some reason, I don't know, it looks much different on the camera. You know, there's not as much cement up and down covering the brick as it looks like. It gives a good effect. I don't know how well we can see that. I might take a couple of stills and put them on the community page on YouTube and see if they look any different. Yeah, everything's great here, Nikki. Thank you very much. I hope you're well as well, and your dad's okay. Everything's good here. So that's how I did the mortar for it, and I put these on after the mortar as though they'd been painted onto it. Thank you, Daryl. Thank you. That's very, very kind of you. And hopefully, but you've got to sand these. I can show you how I do it. It's really quick. It's a really quick way of doing it. We'll try it with this large one. I use a swan mortar knife, razor sharp, dead easy to keep a steady hand and keep straight without a ruler. Normally I would use a ruler, I'm not trying to show off, it's just that I'm working from behind the camera and I've got it. There we go. Out it comes. So we've got the basic sign. There is a bit of white to it. It's important to get rid of that unrealistic edge. You're going to completely ruin the illusion altogether. I mean, I'm not going to put this anywhere, I don't think. We'll see. As most of you know how paper is made, it's all fibres, and so it's easy. And I just get this. It's like it's not a heavy grit. It's a Swan Morton, Jerry, and they're precision but non-surgical. And the blade, this is a 10A. They make different ones. It fits into there, into a slot, and you just lift it up to change it and pull it out. It just fits into a slot like that, and they're easy to change. And you get a pack of about 5 or 6 blades for about 80p. It's not even £1. But I bought a big box of 150 blades off the internet so that I'm not keep nipping out for 10 packs. Swan Morton, Jerry. Swan Morton. They are a well-known make, and they are easily available everywhere, a lot of places. I paid about 7 or 8 quid for this, and it's done me well. It does. It's better. I do have this one of these that you slide and snap off. That was given to me. Somebody gave me that to try, but you can see they're just cheap. They work, they do the job, they're okay. But I choose this one Morton because it's very easy to use. It's very tactile. It's really nice and it's precise. And so, like I said, this is, I don't know what the actual grit is of this, but it's a very fine grit. So it's going to be at least 100 grit. And then just start rubbing on the back. Push down. Give it a bit of rubbing. You can go over the edge. You want the edges off. You know, you want it all. And you'll start to see little white fibres coming off. And you keep doing this for ages and ages. But be careful, too much pressure and you'll get a rip. It is repairable. You can come back from a rip by being very careful when you apply it and making it look like the paint's completely faded. And you just keep going. This would, you see, another thing is you've got to have the time. So I've started on that corner. There's barely a difference yet. There's barely a difference. Wow, Nicky. Oh, I hope everyone was all right. Oh, crikey. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. After Grenfell as well. That's terrible. My thoughts are with everyone. I hope they do. Everyone gets out. And you just got to keep going like this. Now, you know, I like doing these jobs. But in the winter time, when I can't get out to the layout, because it's too cold and too slippy on the ice, and I'm old and fat and I don't want to fall and break my leg, you need a Chinook to get me up off the ground again. And so I don't want to risk it. So I spend a lot of time indoors modelling. HO Scale Steel Mill Modelling. Hiya. Thank you very much for coming. Oh, wow, that's good, Nicky. That is great. That's brilliant news. 8 tenders, 60 firefighters. That no doubt will be on the national news. And they'll be blowing everyone's trumpet, being as everyone got out, which is good. That's good news. So, so these jobs I usually do in the winter. But I got sent all these models and I was just so tempted. I could not leave them long enough. I've done a couple. I haven't done the others. The part built on the layout, just representing the place. where they will be eventually located permanently. So perhaps this job here, what I'm doing, could take me up to an hour easily, especially on a big sign like this, until I get what I'm hoping to achieve. You can't rush it, and you can't, you can't cut corners. There's no easy way. But as you can see now, there's a pile of white dust coming up, and you can see the red coming through in this area from the sign at that side. And that's what I'm trying to achieve. That's what I'm trying to achieve. So I can see this from the other side. From the back view, I can see what it is. I can see a Coca-Cola writing, a Coca-Cola bottle and everything. And you've just got to keep going like this forever and ever and ever. It's easy, if you're on your own and your parrot keeps his beak shut, and you can just sit doing this and then keep looking and checking. I know small things amuse small minds, but I find it really relaxing doing this type of stuff. I don't think it's brilliant for you guys to watch, so I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I will just show you my my method. I tried all kinds of things, some absolute disasters, with water and stupid ideas that should never really seen the light of day. But if you've got a printer and you can get royalty-free prints, it's easy to just print them off in it and keep going until you find what you want and achieve the method that you want to achieve with it. And that is getting to be something like what I will be looking for. And the world can see. So we can see the red from the poster is coming through, and you can actually see that's a much thinner. I don't know if you can see the shade of my finger there. You can almost see through it, almost. And that's what I'm looking for, because that is so thin that when I wet the brick surface with really dilute PVA, I'll get a stiff brush, and it has to be a stiff brush. It doesn't to be a fancy. It's to be as cheap as possible brush, and you can dab at it. And you want the bristles like a toothbrush bristle, so you can dab at it until you push it into the nooks and crannies and it moulds its way around the brick. Thank you, Daryl. And it actually moulds its way around, and you end up with it looking like that, where you can see the bricks through it. Now I know that's a Coca-Cola sign, you can barely see what it says anymore, but you just about make out the Coke bottle at the left hand side and stuff. Same with that one, it's Coca-Cola, it's an arrow pointing to where to buy Coca-Cola from, and you can clearly see all the brick lines and things in that, where we've done all the and that's just tapping it down. Thank you very much. That's very, very nice of you to say. It really is. And I believe that's what this community is all about, sharing the ideas that we've got so that we can all have fun. Like I say, it's a laborious process. It's not, it's not. If you're getting impatient, stop, put it away and walk away from it, because you'll rip it and tear it and you'll get frustrated and angry and it'll never work. But if you can, just, carry on going away at it. And sometimes you'll rip it and you'll think, oh, by heck, that's what you'll think. I've done all that work and I've gone and ripped it in the centre. But don't worry if you do that. Carefully place it back where it should be and work everywhere except that place, and then when you put it on the wall, arrange it through the bricks as per normal, and that little piece that's missing that you sanded away to nothing will look like the paint has completely faded in that area, and you'll be able to get away with it. I know that because I've done it. This is one I did as a test, but when I was testing this method, this is one I did. Again, a Coca-Cola sign, and it's not that I'm a big fan of Coca-Cola. I do like cherry Coke, but it's purely and simply that these signs were readily available. First thing I saw on Pinterest, and so I got them and printed them and used them for this purpose. I do have Pinterest myself, Digger Evans, and I've got all my railway pictures there, and I have some ideas. You know, I've got a lot of city pictures and things that give me ideas of real cities. But I did exactly the same here. This is the first time I did it, and it ripped there, and it tore there as well. I managed to put that piece back. That piece was completely gone, but you can see the brick. You can see the brick through it. So it does look. Now, this was my first attempt, which is why it's not very good. You can see Coca-Cola writing and what have you. Not quite thin enough. You can barely see the bricks. You can see the lines of the bricks through it. It does rip, yeah. It does make it. So that's to show you that it's, if you do rip it when you're doing that, don't screw it up and throw it away and swear and curse and F and blind and stuff. It's salvageable, you know. Just work around it and carry on with it. Carry on with it, because it's well worth it. It looks great at the end. This one, my mistake, is not quite thin enough. We can barely see the bricks. Barely see the bricks through it. And I'm just using standard printer paper, no fancy ultra thin or anything like that. Just a bog standard letter everyday printer paper, that, you know, the cheap pack that you get of paper, that stuff. Bog standard everyday one. And so you can make a rip come out and look all right after the event, and still make it look all right, except that particular one isn't thin enough. It is thin enough in one spot, which is about there. You can see the bricks there and what have you, but like I say, it's purely and simply my first attempt, which is why it's on an old scrap piece of plasticard bricks. Not Daryl, it was just, I was on Pinterest, and it was the first set of printable advertising signs I came across. But yeah, as Jerry has just pointed out, cherry Coke all day long. I love the stuff. I could drink gallons of it, and I do like the vanilla Coke as well, but not as much as the cherry Coke. Cherry Coke's the best, and I'd certainly happily drink that all day. But I don't have it. But yeah, on Pinterest, if that's a good tip for anyone. If you go to Pinterest, have a look round. Most images on there are royalty free. You do get some people. Yeah, same, Nicky, same. Pepsi's all right. Some people on Pinterest say, don't use my images without asking. Mainline, hello, thank you for coming. Thank you, Nicky, thank you. But if you do go on Pinterest, there's millions and millions of images. On my page, you get a page and you have different collections of different subjects. Thank you, Custom Screaming. Thank you for coming, Custom Screen Printing. Thank you very much. And what you do on Pinterest, you just click on an image, and if you like it, save it, and then print it off. If it's royalty free, majority are. Some aren't. Some are just you click on them and it leads you to where you can buy the image from and what have you. Pardon me. But sorry, if you go to my page, Digger Evans, on Pinterest, every single, you'll see a disclaimer at the top, and it says, please feel free to copy, share, pinch, download, print, do whatever you want with any of these images that you see. And on there's images I've shared from various places. There's images from my own layout, other people's layouts, Franklin and South Manchester. There's tons of city pictures, Chicago, Philly, New York City, places that I've got inspirational architecture, and one or two British places that have some decent architecture. It's not on the scale that America does. And you just pick something from Pinterest, print it off. You know yourselves, you get anywhere on the internet, you can find some free images. And this was Coca-Cola. It was just the first one I came to on Pinterest, and I was after doing an experiment, so I took it to do this with. And that, it probably, you know, it probably would look okay on that wall. I don't know if I'll use it or not, you know, but that's the method, and it's a dead easy method, and it's something we can all do. I will say use these emery board nail file things. I did get, when I was in the pound shop, these blocks, and you get 4, like a spongy type of thing, 4 in a pack for £1, so it's 25p each. There's a really rough grit on the edge and on that surface, slightly smoother and quite rough on that edge. They're washable, you can use them many times. I have got one out on the go, which is over here. This is a really fine grit. That one's far too rough. You get a pack of 4 and they're in different grits. Now this one is what I've been using to sand down on the backs of these buildings where these mould marks are. They stick out. Yeah, that's good, Daryl. We're all in favour of cherry cork. And I just use this to sand them down. It's big and flat, and you can just rub it across till they're all sanded. And those are dead cheap. Dollar Tree in America, in Canada, just $1 for 4 of them. £1 over here for 4 of them. Cheap as chips, as they say. But I'd use this type on these tiny pieces of paper. I'd use these emery boards with a fine grit, because although it does take time, it doesn't take long as you think, and you're not going to get a good result using a rough grit and then working your way down, because the paper's that thin. You know, it's only a micron or 2 to start with, so we've got to be really careful and just scratch the back surface off, you know. So you by using a rough grit, you're just going to destroy the job. Use a very fine grit. This is at least 100, 150, 60 maybe. It's really fine. Again, from the pound shop, you get a big bundle of them, don't you? You get a big bundle of them to use. And it'll take you a while, but cut a few out so you can, 100 grits around about right for this type of thing, or above. And cut a few things out and practice with them first till you're happy with it. You know, don't just get the first one and stick it on your building. Do a few, practice, get used to the method of what it is we're doing, and practice at it. And then, even if it's a good one, print them off again and do exactly the same again. And once you've done 5 of these, and they're all right, and you've done good, that one, the first one, too thick. My second one was all right. My third one was all right. And once you've done 5 of them, you've got it off to a T. You know exactly what you're doing, and it's great. And I wouldn't use it on a glossy picture out of a magazine or anything like that. It has to be on a matte paper and as matte finish as possible, and then we can make it look really faded, painted on and old. And I think you'll agree it does look pretty good once it's on there, once it's done the business. So like I say, all I've got left to do with this is dust the appropriate areas once the windows are in, and then put rain streaks, dirt marks and street dirt all along the bottom, along the front of that, and some streaking dirt, a bit of soot stuff from there, just a few bits along the top, and that'll be ready to go and plant on the layout. That is about every. I'll just catch up with some of the comments and that. Yeah, give it a whirl. Give it a whirl. Steel mill modelling. It's well worth having a go. It really is. It really is. That is about everything I had to show you. We've done the size comparisons with the 3D prints and stuff. Rough on the stake rake. And we've done these posters and the mortar, how to get the mortar in. Like I say, this bottom side to me, because I've used PVA, it looks slightly glossy, and that's what you've got to be aware of using the PVA. That area, I will go over it with matte, or get a load of white or grey, very pale grey powder on a weathering brush and go over it also. It takes that sheeny. I know you can't see it on camera, but there is a slight sheen that I'm not happy with, and it's showing the light, you know, it's bouncing off the light like it were wet. So I'd get shut of it. I'll get shut of that with either powder or a thin coat of that Lucky varnish there. It only needs a little bit added. So that is about everything I've got to show you. Thank you all ever so much for coming along and joining in the live with me. I really appreciate it. Good fun, excellent fun. Thank you to Nikki, Southern Train Girl, and Jerry, Boxcar Jerry. What I will mention is, if most of us know each other on here in this chat, there's one or two that may not. Please go over and check one another's channels out and support each other that way. That's the best thing we can do in this hobby, is support one another's channels on here, and we'll all be there for one another. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. God bless everybody. I really appreciate you all coming over. It's been great. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you for your help, and thank you, Jerry. Thank you, everyone who's come. I hope you've enjoyed it. Like I said, thank you, John, appreciate it. There is an email address on my about page if you want to ask any questions or get information and what have you, or you want to tell me how terrible I am and you don't want to put it in under the video because it'll breach YouTube standards. I don't, believe it or not, I have had an email like that telling me how horrible I am. And but it had a few expletives in it. But it's all part and parcel of it. Thank you all ever so much. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you, Rick. Thank you. So I'll say bye for now. Do take care. Thank you, Jerry. Much appreciated. Thanks for your help. And I'll speak to you all soon, either on my next video, on my next live, or I'll see you on someone else's live. Thank you very much, Mainline. Great to see you. I do appreciate it. Thanks, Daryl. Thanks, Daryl. That's great. Thank you. Bye for now, everyone. Do take care. Bye-bye now.